Thank you all for tuning in.
The following is a presentation of Bald Spots Productions.
Be sure to like, comment, and share. Subscribe, follow, whatever it is you've got to do to kick that algorithm into gear and help us reach more people. Yes, it is I, your humble host, Bill Hatch the Third, coming to you live from the palatial home studios of Bald Spots Productions here in the beautiful city of Malden, Missouri. Joining me from a more than acceptable safe social distance, from it's more than acceptable safe social distances today through the miracle of telephony are my guests today, Casey Bell and Tom Paladino. How you doing, gentlemen?
Pleasure to be here.
Wow,
Thank you, Bill.
you.
Hello, Casey.
Hi,
Great. Where are you each calling from? Casey, where are you?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Tom, how about you?
I'm calling in from Bradenton, Florida.
Florida, where all the craziness happens. Okay.
I don't know how to answer.
Yep. Oh, hold on. Sorry, my dog wanted to get out. He doesn't like the show. That's okay. He's not the key demographic. But so that means you're actually still an hour ahead of me. Both of you. Let's see. Well, gentlemen, normally I start out with the same question that I ask everyone, and that question is, who are you reading? So let's start with Tom.
Well, pursuant to my work, who am I reading? I read people by way of energy instruments, which is a fundamental source. Who am I reading?
Okay.
I read people with this instrument behind me by way of a photograph of a person. I work with photographs, so I read the photograph. That's my work. Scalar energy is quantum healing, quantum energy that reads, interprets the photograph. Disease signatures on the photograph.
Interesting. Okay. Not exactly what I meant. I meant as far as what books are you reading, but that's cool. No, we'll get to scalar energy here before too much longer. And Casey, what books are you reading right now?
Right now, I am reading Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard per a book club I'm in.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool. Is it a book club you belong to or one you run?
Belong to.
Belong to. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And what would you say is your key takeaway from the book so far?
Key takeaway. Well, it is definitely it's futuristic, I guess you can say, fiction.
Okay.
Takes place on an Earth where there are gods / angels living with humans, and it's definitely right even now in the climate we're in, as far as in this country, when it comes to black and white, it has a theme of that as of now, where the angels are superior and the humans are inferior, and the humans are at the point of now starting a war to make things equal. So definitely, it's also, I would say, an interesting book because as you read it, it takes turns, unexpected turns. Like there's parts of the book where I think I know what's going to happen, and then it takes a turn, and then you're like, oh, okay. Interesting so far.
Okay. Now, Tom, so that you know, Casey has written 20 books so far, and of his own. And Casey, so you know, Tom is an experimenter and I don't know what else to inventor there for with scalar energy, and as he pointed out, he uses it to help people diagnose, to tell where the diseases are and stuff. So it's interesting. Remember, this is a round table. So feel free to ask each other questions and talk about whatever, we'll talk about your stuff and how people can get stuff from you and and get in touch with you so that they can find out more. And this is just supposed to be an interesting way for people to get to know you a little bit better and about what you do. So Tom, tell us a little bit about what is scalar energy.
Scalar energy, in a very simple sentence, is the free energy of the sun and the stars. It's not electricity. These are scalar energy instruments that I can access the free energy, sun energy, star energy. Now, this offers great prospect because if this is a free energy instrument, the power is derived from the existing cosmos, cosmic force field of sunlight and starlight. I'll demonstrate to the audience.
Okay.
This free energy instrument behind me, these are Tesla coils that I'm pointing to. It's broadcasting a lot of scalar energy. It's so much energy in my laboratory, it illuminates a light bulb. If I hold this up to the camera, that's a light bulb in the factory packaging.
Okay.
The instrument can provide free energy, ambient energy to illuminate a light bulb. So what is the point of my research? This is a new branch of physics in which I can bring to humanity an alternative energy supply, alternative energy by way of sunlight, starlight. I call it scalar light. Some people call it 0-point energy. And the key element here is we're working with nature. We don't have to create energy. All we have to do is harness it. So this experiment proves that there is free energy in the universe, and that if we can amplify that energy, we could provide clean energy, safe energy to mankind. We'll no longer be encumbered by the fossil fuel structure, by the infrastructure in place today.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Because I'm certainly one of those who's stuck paying money out to the electric company. So not that there's anything, not that I'm complaining, mind you, to people who may be listening and have control over whether or not I have electricity, but yeah, free energy would certainly change a lot of things. I know that was a big thing that Nikola Tesla was into, trying to figure out ways to get energy to people for free. So kind of a futuristic kind of sounding thing as it is. Hey, Casey, the future is today.
You're right. This is Tesla. You're right. This is a follow-up of the work of Nikola Tesla.
Yeah. And all okay. Yeah. So sounds like there's a lot of potential applications for that. You've already lit up a light bulb with it. For those people who are listening and not watching, Tom held up a light bulb in its original package up to his coil, and it lit up like a light bulb, of all things. And so yeah, some people watch and some people listen, and so the visual parts of your demonstrations might not come across so well to everybody, but yeah. So how'd you get into it?
I was enthralled as a reader. To go back to your initial question, I was reading about Tesla as a youngster. I tried to consume all of the literature I could find on Tesla because I knew he was a pioneer, and what he offered to mankind was just a cut above. It's the new technology. And this is what I wanted to bring to mankind, a new type of technology you're right. The great inventor Nikola Tesla was the first one to work with free energy. Just extrapolate. What does free energy mean to mankind, and what can we do with this once we harness this energy and utilize it, and then distribute it throughout the world? Well, many things. It's going to improve our lifestyle. So that's why I made a career out of this. It's time well spent.
Cool. Well, let's switch over to Casey for a bit and talk a bit about what he's been working on. Casey, you've written 20 books.
Yes.
Okay. Are they all what genres are they in? Are they all in the same genre, or are they in different genres? Or
They are basically all over the place. I have
okay.
A mixture of nonfiction and fiction, children's books, young adult books, general fiction. Yeah. So
Okay.
I have one horror. The rest are basically general fiction.
What got you into writing?
Well, I've been writing, I would say, since I was very young, starting with songs and poems. And as a child, I found it fun performing. So I would write TV shows, I would write commercials, and then I would perform them. And I didn't really consider myself a writer at the time because I never had the opportunity. They didn't offer creative writing in middle school. So the only writing I did was writing about a book I read or writing an essay. And I would usually get C's and D's. So in my mind, that meant I'm not supposed to be a writer. Even though I was constantly creatively writing, I didn't have the opportunity for someone to look at my work and say, oh, wow, this is something you should do. So I would do it for the fun of it. And it wasn't until, I guess you could say, the first time I really started writing was back in 2003. I was watching a Lifetime film, and it was a controversial thing happened in the film, and I kind of said to myself, I think this would be even more controversial if ABC happened. And for whatever reason, even though in my mind I could never be a writer because of the grades I got in English class, I still decided to start writing this version of this story. And I wrote it with the mindset it's never going to be published because at that time I was not aware of self-publishing, and also self-publishing wasn't what it is today. So I did contact some literary agents and this organization, and basically what they said was, you're good, you need work. And so I continued to write, and then in 2006, 2007, around that time, someone from my church knew someone who self-published. So she decided to bring her in and had a workshop on self-publishing as a fundraiser for the church. And so I said, well, this is my time to see if maybe this could be a thing. And so I went to the workshop. I learned everything I needed to learn. And then from there, I began to go to the library and study publishing and writing. And now here I am.
Okay, cool. Well, that's pretty interesting. So did you get yourself an editor, or are you still going at it alone?
In the beginning, I went it alone. Most of the beginning of my books are without editor, and they're very much beginners books. Some of my later books, I hired an editor to fix it up.
Yeah, it's always good to have an extra set of eyes on your work. As I'm sure Tom has found with science, it's always good to have somebody checking your notes.
You're absolutely right. Two heads are better than one.
Yeah.
I look at my career, the scientists that I've depended upon, that's made all the difference. And obviously wisdom from God. So you need to learn from other scientists who've been able to copy nature, and you need to learn from God. With both sources, you'll do well. I think I've done quite well with both sources.
Very cool. Well, let's get to a demonstration of Tom's stuff. You were going to show us with the image
So when I'm working with these instruments, to make this very clear, these are not electrical instruments. I'm not working with electricity.
Okay.
So this new science, we work with people by way of a photograph. I'm going to hold up my photograph. My photograph has energy attached to it. Everything I do is energy. It's not a chemical process. I actually take the photograph and I place it inside the instrument. When that photograph is inside the instrument or close to the Tesla coils, that's the download of scalar energy that it enjoys. A tremendous amount of energy goes into that photograph. Now, in application, if I were to take this photograph and place it inside the instrument, it's experiencing that download of scalar energy. Mm-hmm. Then in practice, I want to identify a disease pattern. So I can identify a disease pattern by a photograph of a microbe. This is a virus. It's called the Epstein-Barr virus. It has a pattern. It has a signature on it. If I place this photograph of Epstein-Barr side by side my photograph, there's a sharing of information. Both photographs communicate. This is the quantum level. It's not chemical. It's a informational process. So my photograph communicates with Epstein-Barr. What does that mean? If I were to have the Epstein-Barr virus in my auric field, in my energy field, that process would find Epstein-Barr and eradicate it. We're working with energy signatures. It's not a chemical process in which we can, in a short period of time, in an instant, scan my auric field or my energy field, identify the Epstein-Barr virus, and then negate the molecular bonds, or if you will, bring it to a state of chaos. I've been able to prove my work through testimonies. People tell me that after I work with them, they no longer have a viral load for Epstein-Barr. So this is a new information system that doesn't work on the biochemical level. It works on the auric level or the non-physical level of identifying disease patterns and eradicating them.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm somewhat familiar with Epstein-Barr because it's one of the questions they ask when you go to donate platelets and blood at the Red Cross. And so I've it's pretty nasty stuff. How did you find out that it works that way?
Been at this for 50 years.
Okay.
I've made this my life. I studied Tesla, and I had the great fortune to study another inventor by the name of Hieronymus. And in many ways, I've duplicated their work with these instruments. I can't say I'm the first person who's ever engineered a scalar energy instrument. So my work, my protocol working with photographs of disease patterns or photographs of microbes is unique, but the technology is not unique. Over my right shoulder, these scalar energy instruments were first developed by Tesla. So if the audience wants a really interesting read, it would be Tesla. Tesla's the brilliant scientist.
Yeah, he definitely was. Not a brilliant business person, but definitely a brilliant scientist. And how do you? Well, speaking of, because Tesla always had difficulty supporting his experimentation. How do you support your work?
Right, I do have a website. People initially sign up for free sessions. If they like what they experience, then they can go on as a paying client. Now, you're absolutely right. And this is one reason why I have to develop everything on a vertically integrated level. I have to not only be the inventor and the discoverer, but I also have to create a sustainable business. And that was, and subsequently, he had to depend upon bankers who were corrupt and evil. Well, I'm not going to make that mistake. You're absolutely right. Tesla, if he would have been a smart businessman, he would have had a vertically integrated company, sold stock in his companies, and ran it almost exclusively under his control.
Yep, that's one of the reasons why Edison outpaced him. He was a better scumbag. I mean businessman. No, I can say that because I'm in business. I am a business person, and I do all that sort of stuff. But I don't steal and possibly kill people over my business acquisitions. But yeah, okay. And then your website is scalarlight.com, SCALAR light.com.
That's right. We
And
encourage you to go to the website. We're going to
mhm,
allow you to submit your photograph. Again, we only work with photographs. It's the new science of
right.
quantum energy. It's not a physical process. It's non-physical energy through your
Hmm.
photograph. Anybody can sign up, submit your photograph, email us your photograph, and we'll work with you. We'll treat you for free for 15 days with these instruments. After 15 days, the greater majority of people say they felt something. Many people say they feel better after this unique type of therapy.
So people head over there with your photographs, and the link is in the description, so it's nice and easy to find. And get your free service right there, because that's what people are all about. And when you find out just how good it is, you can become a paying one of Tom's paying clients. And yeah. And then Casey, your where are your books available? Are they available all over the place or just on your website?
Well, it's easier to access them through my website, which is
Okay, and
authorcasey.com.
that's authorcaseybell.com, right?
Correct.
Very cool. And yeah, and then in your questionnaire that I have everybody fill out, you said that you wanted to talk about on the show how to conquer fear. What is fear something you've had to deal with a lot?
Yes. So when people talk about fear, they usually are one-sided, and they
Hmm.
say it's false evidence appearing real. And
Right.
so,
I've heard that before.
which means, you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough. Who do you think you are? Things of that nature, which is true.
Hmm.
The thing is, that's not the only form of fear. There are two forms of fear, and we generally conquer what I call good fear, and we allow bad fear to conquer us. And so good fear is what I call facts, evidence, and reality. And good fear's job is to keep you safe. Bad fear's job is to keep you unsuccessful. And so
Mm.
once you understand good fear and how well you've conquered it, you can use that same technique to conquer bad fear. And so then the question is, well, what is good fear? So good fear sounds something like this. You probably shouldn't cheat on your test. You have a curfew. You should probably get home now. You probably shouldn't be smoking those cigarettes. You're not 21 yet. You shouldn't be drinking that alcohol. And so we hear that good fear all the time, and it tells us, if you get caught, you'll go to prison, or your parents will give you a spanking, or you'll be suspended. And so we hear that fear, and in most cases we go, but I really want to do it, so we do it anyways, and that's us conquering fear. And it gets to a point to where that first time you do it, the fear is huge. By the time you've done it the 30, 40, 50, 60th time, that fear is quiet and you don't hear it much. And so once you understand that, you can use that same technique with bad fear. It's not going to go away. You just have to conquer it anyways and do what it's telling you not to do, just to do it. And one of the things I learned was you don't conquer fear for the results. You conquer fear for the exercise of conquering fear so that you can get used to doing it. So you don't apply for the job that requires you to have 10 years of experience and you only have 5 years to get the job. You apply to get used to doing conquering fear, because fear is going to say, don't do it, and you're not going to do it. If you do it understanding, I'm not doing this for the result of it, I'm doing this to exercise conquering fear, then the more you do it, the easier it gets to conquer bad fear, false evidence appearing real. And so that's something
Okay.
that I've just I like to share, because so many people talk about fear, but they always leave out the good fear that we conquer all the
Mhm.
time, and you can use the same concept to conquer the bad fear.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. Is that something that you've used to that you've been doing while you've been writing so many books in spite of your childhood experiences, or is
Well,
that separate?
every book I published with the mind, with the fear telling me, you're not good enough. You know your scores.
Mhm.
Your scores in English wasn't that good. You shouldn't be a writer. And I went ahead and I did it anyways, because I understand I may not be the best writer. The thing is, the message that are in my books are more important than the words themselves, or the grammar, or the this or the that. Um, my message could help someone, choose not to commit suicide, or call someone to go get therapy, or call someone to go to the police to either turn someone in or maybe turn themselves in. So the message
Mm.
to me is more important than the fact that I did get C's and D's in English class. And one of the things I do now is, even when you have the fact, okay, the fact is I got C's and D's, that doesn't mean I should stop writing. That means I should find a way to educate myself, because obviously my
Mhm.
teachers weren't able to teach me in the way that I understand. So I went to the
Mhm.
library and I started teaching myself the proper way to write. And the funny thing is, there are so many rules in the English language. I would research them myself, and then I would stop and say, I don't remember my teacher teaching me that. And so I began to teach myself the proper way to write, so I wouldn't have that fear of, well, you shouldn't be writing, you shouldn't be doing that. And so, yes, I definitely, anytime I feel that fear, I say, well, if I was capable of cheating, because I've done that a few times myself. If I was capable of cheating on my test knowing it was wrong, surely I could publish this book, or surely I can apply for a job that I know I don't have the qualifications for, or I could send this email out even though chances are they won't reply. It's a way of saying, it's the results is not the key, it's the actual doing whatever it is you're afraid to do.
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. Does this theme make its way into your books of your characters conquering fear, good and bad?
Not at the moment,
Not
because
at the moment. Okay.
most of my books were published before I came to this aha moment.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So there's going to be more books.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yes.
awesome, and people will be able to find them on authorcaseybell.com. So not Arthur, authorcaseybell.com. The link's in the description. Okay. Let's see. If anybody wanted to follow in your footsteps, Casey, and become an author themselves, what would be the one big piece of advice you'd give them?
Read books.
Read books.
Read books.
Okay.
Reading, well, first of all, reading books helps you to understand. I don't want to say the proper way of writing, because you can always create a new language, you can create a new way of writing,
Mm-hmm.
but it gives you at least a guideline of how to start writing. So many times people say, I don't know how to start. When you read books, everyone starts differently. So then now you have an idea of how you can start, also that you don't have to start the way they've started, because all the books
Mm-hmm.
I've read, they don't all start the same. It's
Right.
also a good way of not, I wouldn't say stealing or plagiarism. It's a good way to get rid of writer's block, because in reading you can get some more ideas of yourself. And so the
Mm-hmm.
first step, and I believe every author would tell you this, is just read, 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 read. And then I mean, that's the major thing. And then not only read books on how to publish, on how to write, on how to market, on how to do advertising for your book, because the information, one of the things, when you see a book, you see the cover and you see the story. No one tells you the backstory of the publishing and the writing and the editing and
Mm-hmm.
getting a cover design person to do this. They don't give you, you don't get to see the what everything goes behind it. So definitely read books for the idea of learning how to write, and then read books on how to actually write and publish.
Okay. Sounds like pretty good advice. How about you, Tom? If somebody wanted to follow you into the sciences, what would you tell them is a big thing to start with?
No, I would, if you're looking at scalar light research, I would start with Tesla, because there is a great deal of literature on Tesla, as opposed to other scientists. There really is a dearth of literature, so you're just not going to find it. And then if Tesla really interests you, you have two avenues. Pursue your own research, as I did, or follow my research on my website. Now, why do I say that? There's very few bona fide scalar energy researchers. Very few people have ever duplicated Tesla's work. So start with Tesla, and if you like what he's done, then you have a decision to make. You can either go it alone and start your private research, or follow my research, or maybe just a few other scientists. Most of them are dead. That's the problem, Bill. We don't have an active, if you will, a group of men and women who are pursuing this research. We need to revitalize the research of Tesla. Most of the great scalar energy researchers are dead. They're deceased. It's a shame.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. And of course, with science, it's all about duplication, and it's not real until you can duplicate it. Yeah. So you need to do it and do it again and do it again in a different by a different person, in a different place. Yeah. So somewhere other than Florida.
You're right. I frequently tell my friends, I'm somewhat, I don't mean to be condescending, but what if there was only one electrician in the world, or one computer expert, or one politician, or one plumber, right? How could you promote that line of work with just one person? I'm one of the few scalar energy researchers with functioning instruments. In order to prove the science, theory only takes it so far. You have to, in practice, have a functioning instrument. Okay, this is not theory, this is practical. So how many practical scalar energy scientists are there? Very few. That's the drawback right now.
Okay. Well, definitely, if you want some great books, go over to Casey's website, authorcaseybell.com. And if you want to get exposed to scalar energy, and who knows, maybe fix some problems that you've got in yourself, then head over to Tom's website at scalarlight.com, right? Scalarlight.com.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And sorry, trying to remember without looking at it. And you can get yourself some free evaluations over there, and maybe even become a paying client. So buy some books and get some treatment. So it sounds pretty good. Well, you gentlemen have anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, that you hit the nail on the head. Casey, pleasure meeting you.
Oh, thank you.
Good luck.
Okay,
Casey.
well,
Thank you.
thanks to both of you, Tom and Casey. Thanks to our listeners, viewers, for tuning in. Remember to stay safe out there, wash your hands, and stay tuned for the ending credits.
Thank you all for tuning in.
This has been a presentation of Bald Spots Productions. I'd like to thank my producer, my beloved mother, Eileen Hatch. I, of course, am your humble host. I'd like to thank my special guests, Casey Bell and Tom Paladino. Support the show if you feel so led over on patreon.com. We're known as Bald Spots Pro. Don't you dare miss YWL Online. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever fine podcasts are offered. Be sure to tune in next time when my special guest will be Elliot Katz.
Be sure to like, comment, and share. Subscribe, follow, whatever it is you've got to do to kick that algorithm into gear and help us reach more people.
If you or someone you know needs support now, call or text 988 or chat 988lifeline.org. That is the suicide and crisis lifeline here in the United States.